microphone's off.
You gotta turn them on.
I just wanted to make sure we're not waiting for Jeff, are we? All right, I'd like to call the Town of Cedar Lake Unsafe Building Department meeting for August 21st, 2024 to order at 5:32. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Beal?
Here.
Ms. Sauer? Present. Mr. Peel?
Here.
Mr. Deutmeyer?
Present.
Mr. Austin?
Present.
Mr. Bundy is absent. Mr. Gatto?
Here.
Ms. Heiduk is present.
Thank you. All right, first on the agenda for tonight, item 19320 West 142nd Avenue, Northwest Indiana Casas, LLC, formerly Midland Trust Company as custodian, FBO, Pamela Broadway, account number 1716575. He is online.
Good evening.
Could you state your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, sir. Junior Martin, 2701 West 45th Avenue, Gary, Indiana, 4away.
All right. I did see an email. You did some demo work, I believe, and wanted Tony to go out and do some inspection on it.
Well, I just want to make sure that he was aware that it was completed. Wolf Construction is finishing the estimate. I was hoping I would have it by today, but I in general knowledge of the possibility to be done, but obviously I have it in writing for the you guys as far as the extent of the repairs that need to be made to the structure. So yeah, I just want to make sure that he was aware and let him know he's welcome to go by and look at it, that all the demo was complete. And then once we have the final estimate in writing, then I can submit that to you guys. We can move forward.
Tony, you have any questions, concerns?
I would just prefer that the yard be mowed. I don't think it's been mowed this year except for by neighbors. Neighbors are not too thrilled at the way that the whole area looks there.
Okay, I have a company that's supposed to be on there bi-weekly looking to follow up and find out what's
Well, they definitely have
going on
not.
there.
No, they definitely have not.
No, one of the neighbors was mowing it, complaining about mowing it, and I asked them to stop mowing it so that it would grow and you would get a tall grass ticket because it's your responsibility, not his, to be mowing it. So now it's just not been mowed.
Tony, the last email I saw was that you did not get access to the property. Is that correct still?
Yeah, that was today. I was just gonna stop in there. His email to Cheryl sounded like I could stop in and take a peek at it. And I stopped in today and the door was locked, so.
Were you aware that he didn't have access, sir?
I was not. It's the same lockbox code that has always been there.
For security reasons, with the building department, we do not write down lockbox codes. We don't want to be responsible for holding that. We don't hold anything of that nature. We can hold a key, but we don't keep those codes.
Okay, I apologize. I wasn't aware of that. I thought you guys had that code.
That's all right, understandable.
Did you have any, when I was reading the email, I seen that it said that there was some demo work done, but there's no permit, was there? Did you find out, Tony, that any permit was pulled?
No, it would have gone through our office and there would have been you had us to have the demo permit expire yesterday, which I've got that note on here, but to my knowledge, there was not a demo permit pulled.
So what do we have to do now for that?
It's kind of done and gone at this point. I mean,
He should still come in and pay the permit fee, correct?
good question, because we don't know who did the work, which is, I mean, that's really the whole reason for the permit is to make sure whoever's there is insured. You know, they're legitimate. It's not just someone, you know, some
Right.
random person in there doing demo work and gets hurt and it's not okay.
Were you aware that you did not have a demo permit?
You know, I was coordinating everything through Keith and Old Construction, so, I mean, I told them that we need to pull another one, that's what he invoiced me for it, so, I mean, unless he misunderstood and thought the other one was still valid, I'll have to ask him that. Again, I was, you know, doing everything through 1050 ones, that's licensed with you guys, so I thought that, we were on the same page as far as we need to pull a second one. I mean, everybody otherwise.
Who was the company?
Olson Construction Management.
Are they on our list, does anyone know?
What's that?
Are they on the list, are they approved with the town?
Yeah,
They should know they need a current permit then, correct?
yes, they should.
Have you ever contacted or been in contact with them, Tony, or no?
There's other jobs that they're doing right now. I have not been in contact with them. We met with Keith, I believe, out there, I don't know when that would have been. That would have been quite some time ago. I think it was Tim, myself, and it may have been actually Jason was out there with us. I believe it was Keith, and I think Mr. Martin was out there at the same time, so this was last year sometime.
Right.
But yeah, other than that, I have not been in contact with Keith in regard to this project.
So now the demo work's been done without a permit,
I mean, I can't witness that, but yeah.
without a permit, and you weren't able to inspect, I guess technically nor should you be inspecting without a permit.
True.
So where do we go from here?
I mean, Tony really can't do the inspection without the permit. So I feel he really needs to have the permit. You know, and yeah, it's kind of hindsight now, but it was supposed to have been, he should have had one. Is that?
I agree with that. So if he comes in and gets a permit, then you would go inspect at that time.
Check it out, make sure everything is actually opened up and exposed, and then I guess we wait for the proposal from Olson and see if it matches what needs to be done there.
And when were you supposed to have that proposal back?
That I don't know. Only notes I have are about the demo permit and its expiration date.
Mr. Martin, when do you anticipate having that?
I was anticipating but having it before today, so it should be before the end of the week.
I mean, regardless, we're gonna, I feel he needs to come in and get the permit, whether someone from Olson has to come in and get the permit so Tony can go out do the inspection. Mr. Martin gets the proposal on work to be done.
And here we are another month.
And here we are another month with a deferral.
Oh, and we don't even know if it's just a month because you don't even know if it's been demoed properly.
Sure.
Well, not much more to say about that.
No, and other than that, that grass needs to get cut ASAP. So, Mr. Martin, you do definitely need to get a hold of your person doing the grass cutting, so.
Yep, I'll follow up in the morning.
Is there any way you can stay in contact, you know, so as far as whatever you find out tomorrow with the landscaper and stuff like that, and when someone from Olson can come in, keep Tony or myself informed on what, you know, when it's anticipated on getting cut, you know, like I said, as soon as possible. And then when they can come in to get the permit, so we're, you know, at least notified on what's going on, instead of waiting another month to find out nothing.
I can definitely do that. Is there a better way for me to stay in contact with you than I'm doing it now?
I mean, email is the best, but, you know, I mean, email is the best, because that way it gives us a paper trail on stuff.
because I know it was, I believe it was just over a week ago when I sent the email regarding the demo, had I known, about the lockbox, and that they were pushing on the permit, that I could have had it resolved for this evening.
Okay, and right now, I think he's emailing you, right, Cheryl?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
so I can email you tomorrow with Tony's and Rich's emails,
Yeah.
if you like.
And copy us all in it, I would prefer that way. You know, and as soon as you find out from Olson and also your landscaper to, you know, notify us as soon as you hear something.
Okay.
All right, I'd like to make a motion for a 30-day deferral, well, until the next meeting.
The 18th, I believe it is.
Yeah. September 18th.
Second.
All right, we have a motion for a 30-day deferral, which would be September 18th, by Ms. Dessauer, seconded by Mr. Beal. Can I get a roll call?
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Dessauer?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, motion carries 3-0. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, second, we have 13333 Lemoore Street, Vogel.
You're online.
Hello, could you please state your name and address for the record? Are you muted?
Ms. Vogel?
Hello, Ms. Vogel, can you hear us? No. So, I guess I could ask Tony, nothing's changed since the last time, right?
No, the last thing I heard was they were trying to decide whether they were going to sell it as is, or they were going to do some work to it and then potentially still sell it. So,
I know one of the last conversations was they were going to get, or they were directed to see if they could get a GC out there to look at the scope of work. Did that happen?
not that I am aware of, not that I was made aware of. We've heard nothing from them or from a general contractor wanting to, have a site inspection or anything like that.
Do you want to come back to this, see if they...
Yeah, if we can, because I just
She might be
emailed
on now,
it.
then.
It just said connecting. Ms. Vogel, are you there? Yeah, I just seen it was connected,
Yeah.
switched over and stuff like that. She could have connection issues. She's in California, I believe, so.
Put it on pause and come back to it?
Yep. I don't know if she can chime in at any time. I know, she did send an email because she had some, stuff going on today. That's why she wanted to know where she was at on the agenda. I did notify her that she was second on the agenda for today. That started at 5:30.
Oh, now there's another one.
There's three of them.
Yeah.
She's all over the place.
Ooh. Just as long as they don't have to start talking at the same time. Ms. Vogel, at any time, if you want to chime in. Probably not even raising the hand, is it?
That one's
Muted
muted.
now.
Hmm?
She's muted now.
On all of them?
No, the one that just joined is muted.
Ms.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello?
If you could please state your name and address. Yeah, if you could please state your name and address for the record.
Sure, it's Eric Vogel, and it's 13333 Lemoore Street in Cedar Lake.
All right, do you have an update for us?
Yeah, I could hear you guys talking. So, we've decided to put it on the market, and we've taken care of a couple things, smaller things, not like building things, but just getting it cleaned up. We've had a hard time just trying to get an agent, but we finally have an agent, and we're trying to get it on the market either as early as probably Monday. We're going to try to sell as is, and if there's no interest for it, then we're going to start pulling the permits, do the scope of work, and build. But at this point, based on getting burned by 2 contractors already, trying to do this long distance, we're very nervous about doing another contractor and paying a lot of money to another contractor because we've been taken for a ride by 2 of them so far.
Were those our local contractors with license?
If they're licensed, it doesn't mean they're local. That's
Yeah.
the thing. I mean, I know of one of them. He wasn't local, well, not local to Cedar Lake.
Yeah, but are they valid licensed contractors?
General contractors? No. The last one was the carpenter.
I mean, one was working under a general contractor's license, but
Not a valid one here.
in Cedar Lake?
Correct.
No, he wasn't. He was
Right.
in a town over or something. So anyway, so it's been a terrible experience for us, but, so we're gonna try to sell it as is, and we're gonna give it about, probably like 4 weeks on the market, see what happens, and if there's no interest, then we'll have to spend the money and fix it ourselves.
When do you plan on having it put on the market?
We want to do it early next week. The only thing left to do is we have to clean a couple of the units inside.
Is it secure? Yeah.
And there is nobody else in there anymore, right? You have no tenants in there?
Correct. So we have the gardener going out once a week with the mowing and the weed whacker to try to, I know his building's not presenting well. Are you guys, I'm curious, just as an aside, so we've heard that the house behind it and the side of it are abandoned. Are they both on the unsafe building list, or is it just that?
The one to the south of you has an active permit for foundation repair, and they are working on basically a permit to rehab the house. The one behind you, I think I know who owns that one, who the homeowner is, and it is not occupied. It's on the long list, if you will.
It's on the long list, yeah. We have another list that is not on the agenda at this time because we have such a full agenda. And we are working with the process right now as far as grading, those other properties as far as a priority list on worst first. We just have not gotten to that stage yet, just with the amount of, properties that are on the current list, so.
Okay, but that's our update for now, is to give this to somebody else to deal with.
So could you give us, a little bit more updates, like once you do have it on the market and stuff like that, keep us posted on stuff?
Sure, we'll shoot an email.
Yeah. If it's gonna be a week before they put it on the market, and then they're wanting to put it on for, it'd be like a 4-week or a 30-day thing, or would you think of like a 60-day deferral, or are you only wanting 30, which would be basically 3 weeks on the market?
I think 30 is probably safe.
30 safe, okay. I didn't know if it'd be too soon.
Does that mean you just want an email within 30 days?
Well, I would just like a status report kind of thing, as much communication as possible, instead of, typically what's been happening, in the past was, we wouldn't hear anything for a month, not saying it's your parcel, but other ones, and until we get to a meeting, and then we're 30 days behind again. As much communication as possible, so there's a few that are on the list that, I've been getting regular updates, that are actually on the market right now, that, I get more or less a progress report if they've had showings and stuff like that, just so we're in the communication, so not just in the dark with stuff.
Okay, and what's the best email? Who's the person to email with these updates?
They're emailing you as well, Cheryl?
Yeah, you can email me. I think we've corresponded a couple times, or with your wife. And then I can
He's got mine
also,
as well.
I can also give,
Oh, he's got mine.
He's got
We
yours
have-
too?
Yeah, we
Okay.
have.
Yeah.
I can give Tony's email.
And mine, which I do apologize for my, autocorrect the other day for your wife. It, autocorrected your guys' last name wrong, so I do apologize for that.
Oh, no problem. All right, so we'll update you when it comes on the market, and we'll do that, and then hopefully between the next buyer or us, we can
So you're
get
thinking
rid of the blight.
Yeah. All right, I'd like to make a motion for a 30-day deferral.
Second.
All right, we have a motion for a 30-day deferral by Ms. Dessauer, seconded by Mr. Beal. Can I get a roll call?
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Dessauer?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, motion carries 3-0. All right, thank you.
Take care, guys, thank you.
All right, moving on, item 1 in deferrals, Barkowitz, I did share, with the commission, some, communication from Mr. Barkowitz. He did have somebody come over that was interested in looking at the, parcel. They did not have any plans from what I understand, but they came to the building department and were just inquiring on demoing the house and rebuilding. Other than hearsay, I was just told by Mr. Barkowitz that, the individual was told that they would, have to improve both roads, which is, whatever that M Road is, Court, that runs east and west, and also Webster / Whitney on GIS, Webster on a survey, or on a road sign. So they were instructed that if the house would have to be torn down, and it would have to improve the road. So I have not talked to them in the building department yet as far as, the instruction on that, or as to why.
Which party are you speaking of? Because,
Barkowitz,
I mean, which potential buyer? Because
I did not receive a name.
Okay.
He had told me that somebody came in, and was inquiring on what, before they would purchase the property, what they would have to do, if they wanted to rebuild the house, tear the house down, stuff like that. So I have no specifics. I personally didn't talk to this person myself, which I don't like having conversation like this, because it's all hearsay from this person, you know, being told from building department, relaying it to Mr. Barkowitz, relaying it to me, and I don't like communication like that, you know, because things can get, misunderstood. So I don't want to jump to conclusions or anything on what they were told without knowing actually what was told to this individual. But needless to say, I drove past there today, and I was on the premises well over a month ago, on the phone with Mr. Parker. Well, he was in person with me, and on the phone with Mr. Barkowitz, as far as we wanted the grass cut and the shed down, and he said it'd take him about a month to do it, and yet it's still there and the grass is still tall. So, he's asking for the town to vacate those roadway and having Webster / Whitney, be his access, because right now it only accesses that parcel. However, I said any progress helps us make a decision better, and there's no progress other than him just wanting us to vacate the road so they can build a house. And so, there needs to be a decision made on the council level if that's even feasible or not. There needs to be communication with the potential buyer that was interested in it, but other than that, it's...
Well, I think we need to be on the same page with the building department too, because people can't be coming to the building department being told something wild.
Yeah, and whether that was how it was interpreted or not, I don't know.
That's pretty specific though.
It is. So,
But we don't know who they talked to.
they spoke to Nicole, I know that. but then what Nicole was instructed by, Mr. Barkowitz said, that Tim Kubiak told, Nicole said Tim Kubiak said this to the potential buyer. But like I said, that's all, you know, without having everybody in the room, you know.
Well, I don't think I'm with you, I don't think any decision should be made, and not that we could anyways, but as far as vacating the road until there's a little bit of compliance with what we've asked for.
And he is on the schedule for the next meeting, so I don't wanna, you know, discuss this too long, other than we definitely need to get some stuff figured out. You know, what was told to them, if it were true, if it weren't, if it was misunderstood, what is the process moving forward? If they were to come in with some good plans, and use Webster Street as the access, which, you know, I think we need to sit down with the building department as well, because the east-west road to the south of the parcel, it looks like there's a structure to the west, and I don't know how they access that one. Do you, Tony? Do you know which one I'm talking about?
No, I don't. The houses up there are typically accessed from Ninth Street. Anything that would be, I would think that would be.
Well, directly west, if you were to look on GIS, directly west of Mr. Barkowitz's house, and between the edge of the road that runs north and south to the far west, Michael Schmidt, where it's kind of splits his yard, that road that goes up the hill there.
I'm not familiar enough with it, honestly.
Somewhere in between there's a house in the middle.
Okay.
And so I don't know how that's accessed,
I got you.
because it's not a road.
I got you.
So I can't see, I could possibly see in, a potential vacation Webster/Whitney Street for the access.
I can see that, right.
So I want to talk to Don as well, because Tim, did notify me today, they did go up there with the bush hog, up in the corner, because they were doing some storm sewer work up there, so he did already bush hog it to get ready for that.
Okay.
What scope of work is being done on drainage, I don't know. So, a lot of questions, a lot of different departments, and
Right.
no communication between a few of them, I would say. So, anyway, we'll see Mr. Barkowitz at the next meeting anyway, because he's on there with the deferral till September 18th.
Mr. Chairman, there's someone on Zoom with their hand raised. I don't know if it relates to this particular item or not. I just wanted to alert you to that.
Okay.
It doesn't. I just wanted to, after this is done, I just wanted to check to see that my parcel was on the agenda.
Okay.
Okay. What parcel was it?
It was parcel, it's 13947 Hobart Street.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's under permit/demo orders.
Okay.
Yeah, that's, next section, you know, we have a few before that.
Sure, that's fine. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. All right, 8120 Lakeshore Drive, Bank Shots Bar and Grill. Heather, you mentioned that they are having a deferral today? or-
Yeah, you are.
Sorry, I didn't see you sitting back there.
Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
So, I'm Joe Lopez, 8120 Lakeshore Drive, Bank Shots, formerly old Shane's. So we went to the Plan Commission, the last meeting, and we discussed getting a deferral till September 18th, because we submitted everything back to the town, and Don said he needed to go over some more stuff. And him and Mr. McPine, my engineer, had a good discussion. They had, everything seemed, real, everything went well. We were on the same page with everything, so we just needed a deferral to next meeting.
Okay.
I wanted to give you guys an update what's going on.
So, I understand that we're getting quite a few complaints, residents, driving by, of course, because of the looks of it. We do understand that you are working with the Plan Commission. I was kinda wondering, is there any way, like some of the stuff, like, you don't plan on keeping the sign there that's melted?
No,
Is there
I
any
mean,
way to
I
clean
would like
some
to
of that
go
up
over
at
and clean
least?
some more, I would like to.
Yeah.
That's okay, I did have a permit before to do some of the demo. If that's okay, I'd like to get back there and start doing a little more cleaning up. Today we took down one of the trees that was over one of the neighbors.
Mhm.
We trimmed some more of the trees, we cleaned up some of the stuff. Last meeting we had, there was some piece of metal hanging down. He brought it up,
Yeah.
Rob
And
brought
he
it up.
did take care of
I
that.
went over there right away and took care of it, so, yeah, if that's okay, I'd like to get over there and clean some more stuff up,
Yeah.
you know, if that's okay.
I think that's great. What would you be doing over there?
I mean, I definitely want to, you know, definitely keep the landscape and everything clean. You know, I got communication with all the neighbors over there. They call me first, you know, right to my cell phone if they got any issues. You know, definitely keep them happy. And then go over there and take down all the signs, maybe clean up some of that. I mean, I would like to get it cleaned up and maybe even, I don't know, paint some of that, prime some of it, something, just something, because I'm tired of looking so hideous.
I mean, I just know that,
Some of
you
the
know,
stuff.
the sign and stuff like that, it's definitely not,
Because like the brick's gonna be saved if everything goes right, so I mean, I can claim that right now, it gotta be an ugly green, I mean, there's some things I could take off, you guys ain't gotta look at, drive by and look at some of the stuff, I mean,
Yeah.
that's okay, the sign, I'd like to take the sign down, that's okay, 'cause that sign's, you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, if I get permission, I would like to do that. And like I said,
would he need a demo permit to take the sign off, Tony, or is that just?
I had a permit already, I pulled a permit, but I don't know how long it was good for.
I don't know either. I don't know if that was expired or not. We have to check into that. If you guys would be okay with issuing him another one for, you know, whatever, if that was expired.
Yeah, and I would say, I mean, do we do a 30-day for a demo permit for him to do the sign and clean some of the stuff up on the front of the building?
I mean,
or-
I think it'd be nice to leave it open if he's willing to do some things to clean it up.
So, yeah,
I mean,
and then kind of roll into whenever, if next month something does, you know, move forward with the project and gets approval and stuff, you know, I'd hate to do 30-day and then have to come in
Right.
and do an additional.
I have no doubt that you're trying to get things done.
Right.
A lot of it, you're waiting on your engineer, that's obviously that's,
Stuff that's out of my hands.
it is, and you've been here, you've been present, you've been compliant with everything we've asked. I'm not, you don't want it to stay like it is either, so I'm not worried about him.
I'm not either, so what kind of time frame do you put on a demo permit on this, with this kind of
I
situation?
do have work, and all my kids are in sports, so I mean, I definitely would say I could probably get a day or 2 days out of the week,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? And with the kids back in football and everything.
Well, here's the thing, attached to that, let me ask you this, do you feel, I've not had a chance to talk to Don yet, do you feel like we're in a good spot where
Yes.
you could come to the first meeting in August, or excuse me, in September, and we could be voting on that on September 18th?
That's what we discussed last meeting, and I think that's where we're at.
You feel, you
You're
feel like?
talking about the work session for planning commission.
Yeah, because
Yes.
when, last time you gave a presentation, it was a while ago, because your engineer was talking to Don, and so I've not seen anything updated between then and now to know how close we are.
Right, so Don, we submitted, some stuff that Don asked us for, and then so he submitted back his comments, and then he required some more stuff. We got those things done, we had to hire a couple more companies like, soil sampling and some other things that he wanted, you know, some lighting, the exit signs, all that stuff, so then my engineers got all that straightened out now, he resubmitted it back to him, and, I think he submitted it to him just like right before the last meeting, so we needed more time. It's just, we need a little time.
That was the one that you guys gave back to Don, but it was like 2 days before our
Right,
meeting.
yeah.
So Don did not have time, because
For sure.
he needs 6 or 7 days or whatever.
For sure.
So he should have had time to review all that now. Do you know if your engineer got another update back?
No, I haven't spoke to him yet. I was waiting for his email, but I know the last thing when we discussed this was, we were gonna hopefully get a deferral to September 18th, and if they had anything else they had to take care of before then, they were gonna take care of it. And then everything should have been done by the 18th.
Okay. You should be coming to the work session though, too, in September?
Yes.
Because the 18th is our voting meeting, but you should be coming on the first Wednesday,
The first Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
because that's our work session, so if
And I'll make
there,
sure I talk to my engineer about it too. Make
if
sure.
there is anything else, that's where we could communicate and then hopefully work those things out, so we could vote then on the 18th.
Okay, that sounds good. So then, when I look on the other paper here for the plan commission, it says, first up, Do I have to be here for the next meeting too? Because I believe they told me I didn't, I just want to make sure.
You've asked, actually, if you don't mind, our president is in the back. John, do you want him to stay? He's asking for a deferral for bank shots. Do
Do I want him to do what?
you want him to stay for the plan commission meeting, even though he's asking for a deferral?
If he's got something to bring to us, yes.
There's nothing.
Well then, no.
Okay. There's no sense in wasting his time just to sit here for an hour, so I think that's fine. But I would encourage you, anything that Don has to have to look at before he presents it to us has to be a week beforehand.
Okay.
So that's gonna bump us back an entire month again.
They brought that up, and, because he did, my engineer did turn it in late, a couple of days before.
Yeah.
So they discussed that, and they both understood, or he
Okay.
understood, so.
That all being said, I'm absolutely fine issuing a demo permit. I don't necessarily think, what would it be, Tony, a year normally? I mean, either way, hopefully this thing gets voted on September 18th and he's doing the demo then to get it.
So a demo permit's good for a year?
Traditionally, without any other restrictions, and
Because I
usually,
pulled one, and I believe it was within a year.
okay, it could still be.
It could be, but time flies, so I don't know.
What's the quickest way for him to find that out? Call tomorrow?
I'll check it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should I wait for an email, or should I call you guys, or?
Give him a call in the morning, maybe 8:15, something like that.
Okay, thank you.
Building department meeting, oh, it'd be just before that, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right, so I'll just ask for me, that way I know what's going on, and we can, get things figured out.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, guys.
Good day.
All right, you guys have a great.
If he doesn't have a current one,
Yeah, I would issue it, if he doesn't have a current one, Tony asked.
Oh, yeah. Do we need a motion on this or no?
No, it's just an instruction for him to issue the permit.
yeah, it's not anything special, I guess.
Yeah.
If he had one, you know.
And I would say if you want one, just to issue a standard, whatever it is, here.
It would be, typically it's credited on the rebuild, and something like this, if he's doing a demo and rebuild, the demo, I mean, they want to do the demo before they're ready to rebuild, before he's got his plans, then we'll credit that as part of the build
Yeah.
with the rebuild permit. So just keep that in mind, because we may not
I understand.
remember, so,
Okay.
remind us of that.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions?
No, that's it, thank
Okay.
you, guys.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, you guys have a great evening.
You too.
Thank you.
We'll see you at that first meeting then in September.
Yes.
That's at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock?
First one's at 6 and the second meeting's at 7.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, 14714 Dewey Street is deferred until October 16th. 8705 West 100.
Can I just ask Tony if there's been any movement on Dewey? With
Not that I've
Mr.
Urban James Linden.
Not that I've seen.
Okey-dokey.
How's the draft? Yeah. Same thing, Kubiak Properties, deferred till the 18th. The Klein Avenue Solutions property, I did speak with, Tim Kubiak today. He did say that he finally got the approval with, NIPSCO for the, running the power line to have the, lights back there off of the building. That was discussed at, last meeting or 2 meetings ago, whenever we discussed, getting it lit up in cameras. So he did say he does have the approval and plans on, moving forward with that soon. The fence, the green metal fence is down, and gone. And the only thing that was left was the poles. He has a dumpster lined up. He was waiting to get the, thumb grapple back, from the person that borrowed it from him, or the claw for his skid steer, so he can get those posts that were there, because they weren't metal, and then get that all front cleaned up. So there is some cleanup progress with that along Klein Ave.
Goodness.
All right. 7303 West 138th, or 28th Place, sorry, Fouch. That's also deferred till the 16th. Tony, I did drive past it today after I spoke to you. Looks like they had the whole foundation dug around and tarred, it looked like. So I know he did have it repaired, At one of the meetings we discussed.
Yep.
It's still, it looks like it has a few feet of the siding off the bottom, like he's, you know, sealing everything off. I just don't know, anything else, but, we'll find out more next month's meeting.
Okay.
That would be deferred to the 18th, not the 16th.
Yes, that's, I don't know if that's just a typo on that, but yes, that would be the 18th. Thanks, Bob. Okay, moving on to the under permit / demolition orders. I'm gonna do 1 and 2 at the same time, 7105, and 7109, 128th Cagnina. I've been in, contact with Mr. Cagnina as well as, several people here at the town. I did share you guys with the emails, that he sent to me, that he does have an agent. He did lower the price, recently, to see if he's gonna get any movement with that. He is definitely communicating with us on what's going on with it when he has showings and stuff. I just know that whether he if he lets the contract run out with the agent and decides to do something himself, the 7105, there will never be anything be able to be built there if it were tore down. It is a 25-foot lot and a half of a 25-foot lot along, the north and south property line, or the east and west property line, are only like 37 feet. So there's no way they could ever, you could never do anything without a variance. It would be on the road. And the house adjacent to the south, I believe, has a 20-foot setback, on Edison or whatever, not Edison, whatever street that is to the east of the property. But the 7105, whether Mr. Cagnina or somebody buys this, I don't know how it would ever be buildable without a extremely small footprint.
Is that Bell Street?
That may be, thanks, Bob. But anyway, he's deferred, or not deferred, he is, just under the demo permit on that. But, like I said, he's got it listed. Any questions on those?
No.
All right, moving on to item number 3, 139.
Mr. Chairman, before you move on,
Okay.
the 2 Cagnina properties, Weiss and Herrera, we've gotten 2/3 of the way there, right? Title's run, the initial demo order has been issued. In order to sort of close the loop, you need the final order affirmation to be issued. That is what would ultimately be recorded at the Lake County Recorder's Office, as you guys had talked about before, to make sure it gets into the chain of title. So, didn't know if that was something you guys wanted to do tonight, if you wanted to kick the
Yeah, I
can
would
down the
rather
road.
do that tonight, because I thought, I may have misunderstood, I thought that's what the last one would be.
That was the initial order. So
That
the
was the
initial, what the initial order said, and I think this generated some questions from Mr.
Okay.
Cagnina, was it says, the way they're written is you have to remediate the problem, in other words, tear the property down, and we always set it the day before the meeting. So some people get those, and I think Luigi was in this boat, and say, whoa, this says it has to be gone by September, August 20th, and I'm not gonna have it knocked down, right, I'm trying to sell it. And so that's kind of the beginning of the process, right? We give them a month to fix it or demo it. If they don't do it, then we have this second hearing to say, hey, was it done? And if not, then, the final step is we issue this final order, and that gives the town the ability to knock it down for the next 2 years if that is something they wanted to do. It also gives us the ability to enter it into the chain of title through the Recording Acts. So, with the parcel number and the legal description, it gets picked up by a title company.
Yeah, I definitely think we need to proceed that way. So would that have to amend the agenda for that, or just come from direction?
Yeah, it's gonna need to be voted on, because you're gonna need to issue the order affirming, the prior order of demolition from last month. That is absolutely something that would need to be voted on. And then the direction to that, if that's ultimately the way you go, once it's entered, the direction to us would be to record it if that's what you still wanted to do.
Okay, a little more complicated than what I was thinking it was then.
Well, the whole point was that, so that this would end up on title.
Absolutely.
So we need to complete that. I mean, now we've ran title and got
Yes,
all those steps done.
yes.
So we need to make a motion for the final order of demo,
Yes.
and that will then be recorded on title.
Correct. If that's your direction to us, yes. Once the order is issued, we would record it.
So what was the 2-year thing I heard you say 2 years?
Demo orders are good for 2 years.
Got it.
So the town would have the ability to knock it down anytime within the next 2 years, and that's kind of what we ran into, I believe, with Mogan on some of these update items. That we were coming up in October of this year, the 2 years is going to elapse.
So,
And if you don't do it, then you have to basically restart the process.
You're gonna impede his ability to sell it though when you do that.
Well,
You
no.
won't have clear title anymore.
yes, it has clear title, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not a lien.
Yeah, it's not a lien. It would only be a lien drag if it were torn down, and then the town had expenses into tearing it down. And that's not what our intention is with this.
Okay, I don't wanna see us going backwards and impeding any.
Well, Mr. Cagnina was worried because of the first letter that was put on his house. I received a message from him Sunday, and I called him because he was confused, saying, please don't tear my house down before the meeting. And I said, that's not what this letter is. So I believe he's in understanding, and that's why I shared the emails with the rest of the board, that that's just part of the process that I explained to him in the state statute and everything. So, yeah. But anyway, so I guess we'll make a motion, have a motion for the amending the agenda, but it would have to be you said the 2 Cagninas, the Weiss, and was it a fourth one, or?
Yeah, what was the other one? Yeah,
Herrera.
the Herrera Parrot.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if you want to amend it for all 4 of them at once. Obviously, there's someone here for the Weiss property, so I don't know what the status on that is. I would just handle them one at a time. It's probably the best way to go about that. Obviously, the Cagnina one.
Well, what I'd like to do then is, if the gentleman was here still on the Weiss, if he's online, yes, we can just discuss that one with Tim right now, then we can amend the agenda later since he's here, waiting online.
Yeah, that's fine.
I just purchased, that Weiss property Friday, so,
Name and address for the record, please.
Ken Griswold, 2303 West 49th Avenue.
Isn't that what he's here for? Is he with you?
No.
Who's this guy? Who's the guy?
So remember, there were 2 separate parcels that came back on the title commitment for that same address on the Weiss property. I think one was across the street, or one was vacant, and one had the house on it. So I assume one has one and one has the other.
But we only have one on the agenda.
We have the address, right? The address is this Hobart Street address, which both of them have the same address, but they are legally described as 2 separate parcels.
And I guess just to be clear, I'm a tax sale, I'm the tax sale buyer for the property. And so, that's my interest in the property, and, just want to make sure that, we have an opportunity to obtain the deed if it doesn't redeem here shortly.
So this is the same property then?
Yes,
They are talking
it
about
sounds
the
like,
same
so it's a tax sale buyer, and
And then you're the buyer?
Right. Correct.
who obviously is taking it subject to
Right.
that tax fee.
Okay.
You need to finish getting his name and address.
Okay, it was Ken Griswold, and your address was?
2303 West 49th Avenue, Hobart, Indiana.
All right, okay. Go ahead, sorry.
And you closed on the property?
Closed Friday, yes. And you should have received an email from the Realtor. She had me sign something, and it sounded like she was sending it over to you, stating that I was purchasing it Friday.
Oh, that was a couple weeks ago.
That was, yes.
Okay.
I did not print that one off, sorry. to see, but it'll take me forever to find it on my phone.
And you were aware that this was on the unsafe list, obviously?
I was.
Okay.
What's your intentions with the property?
Well, I've been in it, I've been under it. I'm kind of wondering what it is, because there was something posted on the door as well, that there was some unsafe packet that was delivered to somebody. I have no idea what is in that packet, or what was the unsafe thing about it.
That was the demo order.
That was the demo order.
Right.
Yeah. And of course.
You might be referencing the unsafe premises report,
Yeah.
which the building department would have and could give it to you.
Okay.
Because that has the specifics as to
Photos, everything.
the parts of the property that are
On
unsafe.
Tony's
Okay.
report that was done.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I'd like to see that.
So if we can, before you leave, if we can get all your contact info, email, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That way, we can send you all the correspondence that goes along with it and everything.
Yeah, okay, that'd be great. Like I say, well, so since Friday, I've talked to I've called Soil Solutions. I haven't heard back from them for us, I wanna have them go through, because when I was looking it up, at least online, it looks like there might be a little bit of a issue with, what do you call it? Well, there's a creek back there, but I talked to the owner when we closed, or the owner's son, and he said that creek's been dry for 20 years. And so there was a little bit of issue with if it was, some wetlands on the internet. So anyway, that's why I called the Soil Solutions guy. I also talked to a surveyor. But the surveyor said it'd be at least 4 to 5 weeks before he could do anything. And he suggested I talk to the Soil Solutions guy first. I haven't heard back from him. So anyway, right now, like I say, I'm not really sure what's in the unsafe packet, and I'm kind of at a standstill with this guy until I hear back from him, to have him come out and at least let me know, is there a wetlands, or where are we at with that? Are we able to do anything with this differently than what's there, or, and then, if there's something we need to if we can just do with the house and to remodel it in a way that would be suitable. But like I say, I don't know any of that information right now, so.
Doesn't look like what I've seen it's remodelable, is it?
Is there a partial foundation under there, or is there any foundation under it?
There's a foundation under the back half.
Under the back half.
The front half, yeah, it's the 3 piers,
Okay.
and so the front half, there's where the kitchen is at. And I guess maybe it's a little bedroom. Yeah, it's just a pier, there's no foundation.
That would be the first thing to address, obviously. It's gonna have to have a full foundation under it.
Right.
If it's viable from the ground up, then sure. But, as it sat when that report was done, I was vacant at that time, it was wide open, the whole, not having a foundation under half of it.
Mm-hmm.
It was, the grounds, you have seen the grounds, obviously you've been there, it's not kept.
Right.
So it's, that was the gist of the report, really.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I would say, for starters, we just need to send him all the info with the unsafe report. As far as, the final order of demo, would you guys feel comfortable with holding off that if we did a deferral until he had time to review everything in the unsafe packet for the inspection report?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Does that make sense? Then that way, he could do his due diligence as far as if there was any wetlands or any, issues with building where it's at currently, on whatever he plans on remodeling, tearing down, or whatever, before we have Ryan do the, final order of demo on it.
Yeah. Usually when you when you get homeowners insurance, that they would run that and find out if there was.
I talked to my insurance company, and they said they don't do that. I also, before I bought the house, I also called FEMA, but that was just big exercise of futility, to try and figure that out. So, that's why I went a different way and talked to a surveyor and this wetland specialist, so.
So is your intention to take down the part of the house that doesn't have a foundation and rebuild that portion?
Well, yeah, well, that's kind of what I was trying to figure out, right, is it something I have to stay within that footprint, then that's what I'd have to do. Because the way it shows, and, you know, this is according to the surveyor, and he's done nothing as far as, actually giving me anything. But, you know, looking it up online, it looks like the wetlands comes up on the high side, right past the corner of the house at the street, rather than in the creek, which doesn't make any sense. So that's why I want to get this wetlands guy out there and say, hey, is this, you know, if it's wetlands, wouldn't that make sense that it's more in the creek than up by the road? Because then you can actually do something with it. Otherwise, you know, it's buildable farther to the north side. But there's the well there, and there's the sewer, and there's the, you know, everything comes in there. So I was hoping that if we did have to either add on or tear down and rebuild, that we could go south.
And you're gonna use this as your residence?
Well, currently, that's the plan. But, you know, I'm not really sure. Apparently, this property was for sale earlier, back in April, and a guy who was gonna come, he wanted to put a pole barn and whatever else, and found out it was wetlands, and so he canceled the plan.
Quickly looking on GIS, doing a FEMA and a wetland overlay, it does look like it does run through around about a 45, but I'd still have you do your own due diligence on that as well.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, yeah.
so in the house is, the structure's right here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so I would definitely say, you know, that's definitely needs to look into before you.
Right.
You know,
That's why I was hoping that the house might just be preservable if we can do what we need to do that.
And just by looking at an overlay on this without having an engineer involved in like that, you know, it could be off by, you know, inch, 3 inches, a foot,
Yeah.
you know, where, you know, I know all the time that, you know, stuff like that, property can get built up, so where it is out of any type of floodplain, you know, to a certain extent, you know, so I know that stuff happens, you know, quite often.
Yeah.
You know, so, but just looking at you know, an image doesn't tell me anything.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to have these guys out, just to make sure what we could do with it, you know, 'cause I'm not sure what you guys require, but I figure, well, if I come in with all the necessary paperwork that I think you might need, you know, just doing a little cursory glance at some of the things you guys require. So anyway, I don't know what all you require, but anyway, I figured those things might be necessary.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you close at a title company?
Yes.
I assume at closing, they took care of the delinquent taxes?
Yes.
Okay. We just want to make sure we're going to be dealing with the right person.
Right.
Because that redemption period's coming up.
And on GIS, I don't know how often they update, but it still has lease as ownership.
Oh, yeah, GIS is fine. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
the redemption period is probably mid-September, which, if that's not taken care of, then
Well, I have
we're going to be dealing with somebody else.
I have the deed and everything from the day. Okay. So.
Yeah.
Debris everywhere. But it's extremely, it's really overgrown around the house, right?
It's overgrown. Yeah, when I was there Friday, or I went over there Friday after I closed, and I was trying to find the wellhead even.
Yeah, one direction, like if you're coming from the north, you almost don't know there's a house there. But if you're turning going, you know, and looking at the right side, you see there's a house there. So it's trees. But I guess right now, as long as it's secure, because I believe it wasn't at the time of the inspection.
Correct. Mr. Weiss did secure it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Contractor needs a license, but they don't have a permit.
So if you're thinking deferral, don't worry about the final order of demo.
Yeah.
It's good.
He's that guy.
Yeah.
Well, I know Randy.
Do we need a motion on that?
Right behind,
Do we need a motion?
Yeah, there should be some sort of motion on this, because technically each of these items should be active.
Do we need to amend the agenda first?
So, yeah, maybe it's best if you just amend it and add all of them, and then you can motion them up appropriately.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to move items 1 through 5 under the under permit demo orders up to active.
Second.
We have a motion to move, items 1, 2, 3, and 4 up to the, active.
The motion was 1 through 5.
I just moved them all.
Oh, you moved them all, I'm sorry. Okay, 1 through 5, sorry. Can I get a roll call, please?
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Stetshauer?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes. Motion carries 3-0. All right, I am not gonna go in order right now. We're gonna stick with, this, 13947 Over Street.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to hold off on the final order of demo and issue you a 30-day deferral.
Okay,
So that would mean you'd have to come back here for the September 18th meeting
okay,
with an update.
okay.
And by then, you should definitely have the time to review everything in the inspection report and stuff
Right.
like that, and
Yeah,
hopefully enough due diligence to see what, you know, a game plan moving forward, so.
yeah. Okay. So, how do I get, anybody's information
Second on
to?
that.
Yeah.
I second, yes.
Oh, yeah, hold on 1 second. Can I get a roll call vote?
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Stetshauer?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes. Motion carries 3-0. Okay,
Question
question
the
was?
scope of work, right, Rich?
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna describe once,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah, no, so I was just saying, how do I, I heard you guys talking about emailing people, and I don't have anybody's email, so how do I get in touch with anybody via email?
well, would you wanna have them still just go directly through you first, Cheryl, or?
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Should I just write it down, or do you
Yeah,
have a
do you have
card?
a little
or-
piece of paper or I can do something?
Yeah, can you just write it on this here?
So basically, Mr. Griswold, then, so if you can get, as soon as you can review all the, inspection report, when Cheryl sends everything to you.
Yep.
And then whatever your intentions are, once you do your due diligence on any type of wetland, what would be needed, what your thoughts are, for, rebuilding, then you would take whatever your scope of work is to the building and, building department. That way they can review it, let you know, requirements on what would be, needed from you.
Okay. All right.
We can meet you out there too, we can schedule inspection to walk the property with you and see. So we're all on the same page, you're not coming in and we're saying, oh, no, you're missing this and this and this, and then coming back, and
Okay, yeah.
just kind of make it a little cleaner.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. So that all you need from me then?
That's it?
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right,
Yeah, nothing to CHPR.
Ryan, on the Cagninas, we would have to do each one of those separately?
Yeah, I do them separately, but the orders, just like the initial orders, will be issued together.
No, I just wanted to make sure it's on the right way.
Yeah, H-A-J.
Okay.
Is it issued separate? Do them separate, but they're issued together?
Yeah,
Correct.
I kinda got lost on that for a second.
So when we did the initial demo orders, it's both parcels in one order. So we're not doing two separate pieces of paper, all that stuff, because it's the same owner. All of the lien interest holders are gonna be exactly the same. So that'll all go out together, has all the legals for both properties. But for purposes of the motion and for clarity, you make one motion to enter the order for 7105, and then the second motion for 7109.
So two separate motions?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion for 7105 128th Avenue to issue the final order of demo.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Ms. Dessauer, a second by Mr. Beal for a final order of demo, 7105 West 128th Avenue. Can I get a roll call?
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Stetshauer?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, motion carries 3-0.
And then I'd like to make a motion for 7109 West 128th Avenue to issue the final order of demo.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Can I get a roll call?
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Stetshauer?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, motion carries 3-0.
And does that also include direction to us that once the orders are signed by Tony, to have them recorded?
Yes.
Yes, please,
Yeah.
thank you.
We are not, we've done 7308 West 138th Place, Herrera. Same thing?
Yeah, this is the same as the others, so can I make a motion? I'd like to make a motion for 7308 West 138th Place to issue the final order of demo.
Second.
Right, we have a motion and a second for final order of demo at 7308 West 138th Place.
Can I modify that, I'm sorry?
Yes, please.
Also with the direction after Tony signs to,
I was going to add it.
yes,
Beat me
thank
to
you.
the punch.
Thank you.
Concur?
I give second, yes.
Okay. Can I get a roll call?
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Stetshauer?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, motion carries 3-0. Real quick, I also shared with you guys the email and conversation between myself and Ms. Herrera. She's had other complaints again from adjacent property owner. Completely unacceptable to the borderline of harassing a potential buyer. You know, this is somebody that was wanting to clean up the property. They got there before their agent did, and a neighbor basically said that the house is condemned, it's being torn down, and it's coming off the market. All of false statements, basically, because, you know, we'd rather see something done with the house instead of just torn down if possible, and the adjacent property owner had no right saying what he said to the potential buyer. So she is pursuing some stuff that she needs to take care of to try to correct that situation. Okay, we did move up item number 5, 14616 Dewey Street, Frick. So I do have a question for Jeff. Do we know what's going on with this easement for storm drainage?
There has been, as far as I know, there's been no movement in some time.
So I think, as I spoke with a few of us before the meeting started, I talked with Mr. Frick 2 Fridays ago for probably about 30 minutes, seeing the house plans and everything, beautiful design, stuff like that. He was trying to get in touch with the surveyor so they can start figuring out. It definitely has enough property there. It's 2 50-foot wide lots by, I believe, 120, 125 foot deep. The easement that was being discussed was along the north property line, a 20-foot temporary easement that would be basically turning into a 6-foot permanent drainage easement along the north line, and then the west property line would be a 20-foot easement. So with that said, he kind of needs to know what's going on with it. I suggested that I would try to talk with everybody involved, with Jeff, with Don, and whoever else needs to be, as well as Tim.
Well, after we met, as I recall the conversation, Don and Tim and him were going to get together and powwow over at the property. And because they also talked about some kind of collection device at the south end of the western easement.
Correct.
And then they were gonna go out there and walk it off and see if that was going to interfere with his plans for his new structure.
Correct.
And
there's nothing, so.
I've heard nothing since.
Yeah, so if you could try to choreograph getting that meeting sooner than later, so we can have Mr. Frick here by the next meeting, so we can.
Another one?
No, so we can, so you don't know if they did go out there and discuss all?
I do not know. No.
But I guess we have to find out if that did happen, but I don't think it did from what I've talked with Mr. Frick and stuff.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
know.
Don will be here in a bit. I'm sure he would.
But yeah, so if we can just all be on the same page, because with speaking with Mr. Frick, and then, you know, one side, and not everybody in the same kind of room is where problems start happening.
Right.
Okay. So, but I do want to see, Mr. Frick here at the next meeting regardless.
Yeah,
You know, but we may, you know, we and him, may have a better understanding of what is going on, because I understand that the easement is causing problems with layout of where the house would be and stuff like that, if he tears it down. I did tell him that whatever, you know, access, you know, I don't know if you remember, since we don't have it in front of us, but what some of the photos look like for the crawl and stuff like that was easily accessible for animals, stuff like that. I told him we needed to see that stuff at least sealed off. You know, regardless, just for the fact of, you know, no animals going inside of this, you know, into the crawl.
right.
So anyway, I definitely want to see Mr. Frick here. It is active, you know, but at the next meeting, so.
So do we need to notify him that he needs to be here?
Cheryl would just have to send him notice the normal time before.
Certified.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Update items.
Mr. Chairman, since we moved that to active, we're going to need to take some sort of action on it. So that the motion to defer for 30 days and the direction to
Okay.
send the notice to appear.
My apologies. I'll make a motion to defer 14616 Dewey Street for 30 days and ask that the building department contact Mr. Frick and let him know that he needs to be here on September 18th.
Which one is
Second.
correct? This one?
Right, we have a motion and a second. Can I get a roll call?
Make a motion.
Mr. Beal?
Yes.
Ms. Spencer?
Yes.
Mr. Teal?
Yes, motion carries 3-0. Thanks, Larry.
Yep.
Update items, item number 1, 7512 West 128th Lane, Bristivsky. That one, the one that's down.
Yeah,
So we can remove recommended?
I suppose so, yeah, he's waiting till it cools off a little bit so he can seed it. But
Yeah,
down it's great, it just needs to seed.
Yeah.
So,
You've seen the photos, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wonderful.
We need a motion to remove.
No, just, you can just give the direction when this comes off. I mean, there's nothing that's unsafe about it anymore.
Correct, okay. All right, Cheryl, so, you know, you just make sure you remove that one. 14523 Bryan Street, Cox. Tony, you did contact with the...
stopped out there, spoke with the property owner's daughter, and she said they will make a move to get some railings on there. She didn't give me a timeline on that, but, and the railings are there, they basically need to fill in the gaps between the rails for balusters.
Yeah.
So, she said she wasn't sure when, but...
I would like to keep this on update item.
So it's not forgotten.
Just so it's not forgotten. All right. Item number 3, 12901 Hilltop Lumberger. They did come in and pay partial payment on their bill. I believe it was $4,000 toward the approximate $5,500. They did ask for a 60-day extension for paying the rest of it, and I said yes, absolutely. Then 6590 Fernwood, Mogan, that one is down. I believe I texted you guys the
Yeah.
pictures of that one. 14021 Windsor Street, that one is next. Tim is gonna be just moving the excavator around to around the block.
I'm here for Windsor Street,
Oh, okay.
so...
The 14021 Windsor.
Yes.
Name and address for the record, please.
Zach James, 14611 Clark Street, Crown Point, Indiana. So I learned of the property about a month ago. I was in contact with Mr. Mogan to buy it. Mr. Mogan passed about 2 weeks ago. So I would request a deferral for 30 days so I'm working with the estate to figure out what it does. Or realistically, I will know in a week what we are going to do with it.
So you're trying to purchase it?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm at an agreement with Mr. Mogan's estate. I'm working now to figure out what I need to do to buy it from the estate.
I mean, this is like minutes from getting demolished.
Yeah, so how does this work, Ryan?
That's a problem,
The
right?
demo
because
order
we're-
is October.
Yeah, we're up against the deadline. I mean, if you wanted to, you could agree to stay the execution on that order, but just know that you have 2 months.
Like I said, 10 days.
We don't meet though for another month. What's your intention with the property?
I'm evaluating it now, but from what I've said, I've been in the property inspector, from what I've seen, it may be salvageable. To completely, I mean, it's gonna take a lot, but the foundation, I mean, a portion of the house has to go, it's built on a deck. But besides that, foundation looks solid, and the framing, besides the mold damage, looks salvageable for the most part.
This has been on this list for like years.
I understand that, but I also see the potential to, so basically the 6599 Fernwood, that one's down, that one we have expenses in right now. That one's gonna be quite the process, right, to try to recover those expenses?
Well, I don't think Mr. Mogan's gonna pay, so what you'll have to do is you'll have to lien the property, and when the estate sells it,
Yeah.
you recoup your costs then.
So my thought is, if we can make sure that Tim does not get on this right away, at least for a month, it still gives us the month after to get it down before the order of demo expires.
Here's
Do you have
the logistical problem. When did you say you passed?
With, give or take, a day or 2, 3 weeks.
So earlier this month, or
Yes.
late July?
Yes, late July.
So presumably, as far as we know from when we ran title on this 2 years ago, it was owned by Mr. Mogan individually.
Mm-hmm.
Unless he changed the title to that prior to his passing, it is almost certainly going to have to go through the probate process. Now, that could be potentially an unsupervised estate, where the court wouldn't be involved, or it could be a supervised estate where the court is involved in everything. That would require the filing. Either way, you're going to have to open the estate before they could convey the property to him, because nobody has the authority to convey the property right now because Mr. Mogan's dead.
Mm-hmm.
So if that is their goal, they basically have to do that within the next 4 weeks in order to keep this thing on the same time frame. Because what might happen is he comes back next week and says, we're good, we've worked it out with the estate, but they can't close on it anytime soon because the estate's not open or they haven't done everything they need to. And then you guys are in a pickle in September.
So
Just so we're aware on the timing here.
my intent, from my non-expert thought process, was I was gonna have everyone with an interest in the estate quit claim me whatever interest they may have immediately.
But the problem is if you're searching through the chain of title, if, little Johnny Mogan here has a deed in there and Craig was the owner, then you have what we would call a wild deed, because John owned no interest. The only interest of record is Craig's. The only way it all sort of gets worked out is through the estate conveying it through a personal representative deed, typically to you.
Okay, so, yeah, all right, well,
That's the problem.
so the heir cannot convey a future interest?
Correct, because he doesn't have an interest. He doesn't have an interest. He has an interest in the estate. He doesn't have an interest in the property.
Okay.
Now, it could all be solved if they have an attorney and they're opening an estate or they're going to open an estate soon, then it's not a problem. But no title company is going to let you close on that without the estate being open.
Yeah.
Typically. So if you give him 30 days, just be aware that is an issue that is on the horizon, that, he might come back next month and say, it's all good and worked out except we have this hiccup. And then you have to make the decision, do we cross our fingers and hope this all goes through and let the order go by the wayside, or do you move forward?
Yeah, in a perfect world, yeah. And it's not.
Not as simple as we'd like it to be.
And realistically, now that it's in an estate, this could drag out months and months and months.
Well, it's probably not even in an estate, technically, right? It's owned by Mr. Mogan, who's passed away. The estate probably hasn't been opened yet, but maybe it has. I have no idea. But if it's unsupervised, the court wouldn't have a lot of supervision over it, and the personal representative, who I assume is the son that was part of all this, wouldn't have any issues conveying it. But if it's supervised, then you have to petition the court for approval to sell it and this, that, and the other thing. But it probably wouldn't be supervised unless, you know, there's family dynamics at play that we don't know about.
And I would imagine it's unsupervised because it seems like the sons, they don't care about the home. They're gonna, and there were not a huge amount of assets to be up between everyone.
We can look right now. What was it Craig, or was Craig the son?
Craig is the father.
Okay.
I believe.
We could see if one's been opened.
The property's under Patrick. Who's Patrick?
Oh, maybe Patrick's the dad and Craig's the son. Craig was sticking in my head for some reason.
I think, let me look.
There has not been an estate open for Patrick Mogan, I can tell you that much.
Craig is the son I've been working with.
So Ryan, what do we do with this?
Well, I mean, he's interested, you know, it's up to you if you want to give him 30 days. If you do, you still have another 30 days from September to October to effectuate that order, but, I mean, I would just make it clear, as I think this discussion has, that it's a hard 30 days, like.
What's the date on, October what? Do you have that?
Not right in front of me now. I just know it's October.
And just to be clear, we're not giving Mr. James 30 days.
Correct.
Because he, right now, has no interest in the property.
Correct.
As far as,
You just stay in the execution of the order for 30 days. Give Mr. James some time to see if he can pull a rabbit out of the hat. And hopefully he does, and he can come in and improve it, and then it's one less thing for the town to knock down.
Our desire with all these houses is to do the right thing with them and make them a nice livable place for either you or another part of our community. However, this has been years on the list, so I don't know how long, the patience is pretty short on this one. And we're under a deadline now because our 2 years is going to be up in October.
Yeah.
So I would be fine issuing.
The other thing, I don't recall, I tend to think it was an actual order of demolition, but this was around the same time that the prior board was entering into agreements with property owners in the same fashion as Lomberger. I don't recall if this was one in which the property owner consented to the town tearing it down, or if we had actually gone through the process. I think it might have been the process, but we can double check it, because if it was sort of an agreement by consent with the property owner, then...
That consent is gone?
No, then no, he's already agreed to it in writing, we're already done there. Like, then we don't have the 2-year time frame. That's what I'm saying. Versus the actual statutory order that we would have issued pursuant to the unsafe building law that has the 2-year limitation.
So between now and 30 days from now, if we just advised him to hold off on that one, and then that way you can do your due diligence on finding out if it was, you know, either one or the other.
But I would tell you that I would operate on the assumption that this property is on a hard deadline of being knocked down by the middle of October.
And I need the estate issue completely resolved in 30 days.
Correct. If they want to sell it to you, probably for a higher price because there's a building there, then they have a fair amount of work that they need to do in the next 30 days in order to do so.
Well, the transfer of the property has to be completed in those 30 days, correct? Like,
Yeah.
the purchase agreement isn't going to work, it has to be...
I mean, unless they have a closing schedule for like the day after, then, you know, maybe you could grant him another day, but that's a horse of a different color.
Did he work on a scope of work in the meantime during his holding pattern?
Well, I don't know that I want anyone to waste time on that if this is not going to, if it's going to be a null issue.
Right. Yeah, and this doesn't need a vote, we just tell Tim, don't tear it down yet.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So you guys all good with me contacting Tim and telling him?
Yeah, I mean, it could be on his agenda for the first week of October anyways, so it doesn't matter if it's, I'm fine with 30 days. Well, until the next meeting,
Yes, September 18th.
yeah.
Okay. I'll make sure I reach out with him.
Does that all make sense?
Yeah, no, I understand.
I
Thank you.
apologize for you that you're
No,
coming
no,
in at
and
the,
I knew I was under the gun with this one.
Yeah, and if you could contact us as well,
Yes.
you know, as soon as you find out if you are gonna proceed with this, you know, and, sooner than later.
All right.
Then who should he contact?
Cheryl?
Cheryl,
Cheryl, ain't doing anything else right now, sorry, Cheryl.
Yeah.
flash your email in
And
front of you.
Cheryl does copy, you know, me on all the correspondence and stuff like that, and me or Tony, depending on the, you know, what's going on with the property.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. So you're,
Do you wanna get her email, or?
I'll get it afterwards.
Okay,
I'll leave
That's
your-
fine.
all right, thank you.
and you're notifying Tim?
I'm gonna notify Tim. Okay, 7020 West 139th Place, the bills were sent out for that one. Also, the 7029 West 135th, the bills were sent out for that one. We don't have any update on that. I understand that the Ward one, is gonna be another with the deceased and stuff like that issue, so that's gonna take a little bit of time to work through,
Yeah, we can still lien the property and then it's there, I mean, that's
Yeah.
the point of it.
yeah.
But just so you know, at least on the processing of that, like, once they remain unpaid for 30 days, then somebody needs to send it over to us so we can get the lien filing started.
Yeah, and I don't think it's been 30 days yet since they were sent out. We're getting close, though. West 127th Lane, the town-owned parcel, I did speak to Tim. Again, as far as trying to orchestrate, I did get another phone call from another adjacent property owner with some concern about it, on what was going on. Drawing a blank on the last name, but I know Cheryl's in the office. Oh, okay, it's Jody, right? Bunk, okay, I was drawing a blank on the last name. I did receive some info from her as far as what's going on with it, or a question of what's going on with it. And I did say that Tim was trying to get back in there. I understand that the immediate adjacent property owner to the south, Mitch Kleins, was wanting to put a fence up. I believe Tim did contact them to say, hold off on the fence, that we weren't gonna issue the permit along the back, because the fence would literally be like about a foot away from the structure if we were to tear it down, and so it would risk damaging a brand new fence. But regardless, Dave, how close are we to having this property, where it would be back on for auction for sale?
Probably in the next month, or thereabouts.
Because I believe after several conversations, that's the route that had to happen, since the last one did not go through.
That's true. That's accurate.
And even though Ms. Reeves is still an interested party, that was the last time, but it still has to go through
It has to go through the process.
go through the process.
Correct.
So does that come with an instruction now for you to do that then?
I think I already had it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure for,
No, you and I have talked,
yeah,
so we're working on it.
okay.
Correct the address? I don't think it's Wayne, no, it's Place.
And that's the funny thing, when it comes into landlocked parcels, on addressing and stuff like that, I know personally, because I have some landlocked property somewhere with deeded easement and stuff like that, and it's a street address on the south side of a river that, you know, that doesn't make sense to me, but that's how it's labeled for some reason. So, Dave, would that be corrected
We take care of it in a transaction.
in that?
There'll be a correct street address, legal description.
But nevertheless, I did tell Tim that after the Mogan houses were down, that is the next one that was gonna be on the list to demo. So just so everybody's clear that structure is gonna come down, but another adjacent property owner did give us the permission to go through his parcel to tear it down. So,
So with Mogan being on hold, and that should be next.
absolutely. And that was some of the hang up from the last time it was on sale, when Ms. Reeves, had
For sure,
it.
yeah.
And then there was the issue of the structure being on there, so that was, you know, so if we can get Tim on that as soon as possible, then it's done.
Good deal.
All right. 14324 Edison Street, another townwide parcel, but that one's got some logistic issues, but I still got some ideas for that one as well, so, anyway. Do we have any public comment, for unsafe building department?
Rick Parker, 14823 Moore Street, Cedar Lake. You know, my blood pressure's been up a little bit lately, and I missed part of the meeting. What are we gonna do about Varsowicz?
I do want to see him at the next meeting because he is deferred, right?
Yeah, he was the first to the next one.
Yeah, deferred till the next meeting. So I did,
Did you talk about on the record, though, the nonsense that's going on with that property?
so I did speak about it during the meeting, that
Regarding which part, Greg?
Well,
The
regarding that we got it on the unsafe building list, and we need to get that corrected. But we had a party come in interested in demoing it and building a new structure, but they can't do it because it's not on a road improved
We
to
talked
town
about that, yeah.
standards.
Yes, we did. Yeah, and I did share.
That's the nonsense I want.
Yeah, and so I did share.
Because I'm tired of dealing
Yeah.
with it.
I did share the, letter that we got that you gave to me yesterday during the council meeting, with everyone. So they're aware, and that was as far as the, vacating the, Webster Street, turning that into the drive, so they were both aware of the situation with it. I did, you know, but that's not, that wouldn't come from this board anyway. That'd be council kind of issues.
My problem is we've got one situation impeding another situation, which impedes another situation. And not only is the homeowner chasing his tail, but you and me are now chasing our tails and wasting our time. I'm done with it.
Well, and I agree, and I actually drove past there today, and I'm quite disappointed because of, I did mention, that after the last time you and I were there on the phone with Mr. Barkowitz, that we clearly instructed him to cut the grass and tear down the shed.
He didn't do either.
And not a darn thing is done. So he's asking for something for us, and still hasn't done what he said he was gonna do, because I remember exactly, he said, I need about a month.
Well, you and I talked to him last, and we didn't discuss that. But the long and the short of it is...
Because I believe what he said before was gonna happen.
The long and the short of it is, I don't want to spend taxpayer money to tear down something that somebody can deal with because of a technicality and some red tape.
Yeah, and how I explained it, Greg, earlier at the beginning of the meeting, was whoever this prospective buyer was, by talking to Nicole, being instructed, if she said Tim told her to tell this person that, and then that gets to Mr. Barkowitz, and that gets to you and me, I don't like that form of communication.
And I agree with that. And frankly, I talked to Nick Recupero about this today, and I want to have a sit-down with the building department real soon, and everything that's going on there better be making sense. So, we're going to get to that point. That was my #1 complaint last year. We better get to that point, or else. So, there's a lot of stuff that goes into being in this position, but when I feel like people are wasting my time, whether it's the public, or whether it's a staff, or whatever it is, the process, I just want it cleaned up.
Well,
I don't want to waste a lot of time.
and I agree with you, Greg, but also, the same thing goes with communication with the property owner.
I don't disagree, Rich, but I got so many complaints, and you know that, you were there.
Oh, yeah.
And my phone's ringing constantly. I just want things to make sense. Simplify the process, make it work for everybody, and let's get to a point where we can straighten some things
And I
out.
mean, and that's what we're working on. I don't know if you've seen our
I got a
agenda.
question about the Weiss property too. That gentleman was just in here. The last time you and I were over there, that road is not improved to town standards. I'm getting my blood pressure up again. Let me settle down a little bit. That road's not improved to town standards. So if he has to demo that property, are those buildable lots?
I would imagine that's a building department question.
But you and I were there. You know what the road looks like.
Yes.
But he didn't leave here with that inclination tonight.
Well, but I would think that this is where the communication between building department and, property owner, has to be conveyed.
I would agree.
And we also know the other situation.
A lot of times people don't have accurate information before either they purchase something or before they start the project. It's gotta be fixed.
And you're not happy with the zoning that we have currently and where,
If what I'm hearing is true, I'm not happy with it, no. It doesn't make sense. It's too complicated.
What are we talking about?
So, and one more thing on that, Dave, on that property that.
Well, Greg, this is something that you and I know that we're working on with that zoning ordinance and stuff like that. So not to cut you short or anything, but, I think that's a lot more discussion and during public comment.
Rich, I don't disagree. This is out of frustration. I've spent a lot of time, and you and I are gonna spend some more time on the phone tomorrow.
I understand that, but in the same sense.
We have to get to a point where things make sense.
And if you looked at the agenda today, this has not been like this kind of format in a long time. So this stuff does not happen
It's better.
overnight.
It's better, but
So-
again, listen to the complaints, listen to my phone ring,
Yeah.
it's gotta get fixed.
Well.
Is that statutory on the Reeves, the property that Reeves are interested in?
for valuation?
Yes, just for valuation or just for?
Appraisal is, property cannot be sold unless it has an objective value, and it is sold fairly. The reasons for that has to do with making certain that tax-paying residents are getting fair value for property they own. It's in the name of the town.
I'm not opposed to that, so what are we talking about, just appraisals?
Yeah, value, that's it, and we may not even need that.
Okay. I just I wanna have a clear
The
understanding.
reason we may not need that, because we may already have it.
Okay, thanks for the clarity.
Any other public comment for unsafe building department? Third call. All right, this meeting is adjourned at 7:09 PM. Next meeting is September 18th.